My abode, as I like to call it, is on the left as you come in from front door, and across the hall are Mr. and Mrs. Grimshaw, Colin and Daphne. Of course I've known Colin a lot longer than Daphne, because he came here about 3 years ago. He's on his own like me, but he's a divorced man who I think gets lonely for female company. Anyway, some months back he joins one of those dating agency places. Often I would come out to my front door just as Colin were coming through main one with yet another lady about to be enticed into his lair for who knows what. It were never the same woman, but there were a pattern to it, because sometimes the female I saw the week before would be given another chance, as it were, and would be invited again. I said to Colin, when he's ushered a rather pretty petite one in for a second time, "She seems nice." Colin always has this cigarette dangling from the corner of his mouth. I think it's glued there. He chuckles and winks at me, but says nothing as he follows her in. Some months later, there were a knock at my door, and this rather flamboyant, dark-haired woman is standing there. Quite attractive, but with a wandering eye that made it hard to know with which eye she were looking at me. Then, from behind her back, she produces a whole cauliflower. "A present for you," she says, in way of an introduction. "I'm Colin's fiancée." "Oh," I say, a bit taken aback, and disappointed that it weren't the petite lady with which he was serious about. However, I thank her, and she turns and flounces back across the hall and disappears inside Colin's abode. Some months later, I notice that Daphne senses when I'm about to come through front door, for she will leap out at me in different guises and moods. Once she flies out of the door in a blaze of light, wearing a colourful skirt and dancing a flamenco in front of me, castanets and all. But at other times she would seem troubled, and want to tell me strange tales like how she didn't belong here. You see, she's really from another planet, she tells me, called Zoic. She claims she met a man wearing a silver suit in a pub in Bolton, and he told her that's where she's from. He knew, of course, because he were from there himself. I suppose it's easy to recognise one of your own. Oh, give me strength, I'm doing it now. I begin to realise that Daphne is not quite the ticket. Colin's taken to working long hours and never seems to be in. I want to tell him of my concerns over her, and so I listen out for his footstep in the hall and the familiar cough, but she always greets him before I can open my door. I don't know if he notices her peculiarities. If he does, he says nothing. Then there was that time she knocks on my door, looking terrified. "Help me," she says. "They've found me." "Who?" I say. "They," she says. "They planted a bomb in the room and I can hear it ticking." "Oh, calm down," I say. "Let's take a look." I know not to question her further, for it'll get me nowhere. So I follow her into the room, where I spy a loud ticking clock on the mantelpiece. I take it down, take out the battery, and we all go back to normal. Her moods went in a cycle, as it were, and I couldn't decide whether the downs were preferable to the ups. She's on a down episode this day and knocks on my door. She's standing there with her hair cut raggedly. It looks like a demented scarecrow. "What have you done?" I say. "I cut it," she says, running her fingers through what's left of her locks. "Does it look awful?" she says. "Well," I say, "I preferred it before." She bursts into tears and rushes off. Next day, knock knock, she's here again. This time she's wearing a flamboyant dark wig, which is all too much for her small head. But she's on and up. "What do you think?" she says. "Well," I say, "it's a bit voluminous." I think, wrong answer, so I quickly add, "But very nice, very becoming." Thankfully, she's not disheartened and disappears again. Next day, knock knock, and she's standing with same wig on, only she's cut it exactly the same as her own hair the day before. "Is that better?" she says. "Oh, much," I say, and she trots off happily. I've come to town and driven today. My old Morris Minor does me if I don't want to carry anything heavy uphill. Otherwise I take the bus. I've just finished loading some shopping in the car when I spied Daphne, as large as life, walking down the road in her nightie. I stop her in her tracks. "What are you doing?" I say. "You in your nightie and slippers." "I'm off to art college," she says. Mind you, she does have her handbag over her arm, so she's probably just forgot to get dressed. "Let me take you in my car," I say, grabbing her arm. "Look, it's just here." "I can walk," she says. "I enjoy the air." But, having hold of her, I force her into the passenger seat and drive straight back home. I settle her down, make a cup of tea, and look for Colin's business number in phone book. He comes straight back, still cigarette glued to his bottom lip. He comes in looking glum, and with no more ado takes her back across hall. "I shall be late for the art class," I hear her say as Colin closes the door. It took 2 doctors to certify Daphne. Turns out Colin realised her strange condition shortly after they married, and not being able to cope with it, spent most of his time working away from her. There were many more incidents that I've not told, but there are some things best left unsaid. Daphne didn't stay long at the psychiatric hospital, and it didn't faze her. She thought she'd gone there to teach art, so it were just as well, and within a week she were back home. It's been a year now since Colin and Daphne moved away. I had hoped Colin might have left a forwarding address or to write me some news, but I never heard from either of them again.